Hello, welcome back to the channel. A YouTuber that I subscribe to by the name Hannah Young, she just posted a video and the title was, if she had to choose between her Fujifilm X106 and her Sony A7C Mark II. And the moment I saw that title, I was inspired to make this video because I recently posted a video where I said Sony fanboy tries Fujifilm X-M5 for the first time. And I gave my thoughts on it. The Sony fans said they would never use the Fuji because the autofocus is not good. And the Fuji fans said they would never use the Sony because it's not fun to shoot on Sony cameras. And to be honest, I understand both parties. I get where they're coming from. However, it's not everyone who has the opportunity to try both of these camera systems at the same time. I do own the Sony A6700, this right here, and the Fujifilm X-M5, which is relatively new to the market and it's been going through loads of backlash. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love it. I bought it for the form factor, for the size. It's pocketable if you slap on a small little lens. I'm making this video on the X-M5 right now, and yeah, I really love the Fujifilm X-M5, but what if I was in a position like a person trying to buy the camera for the first time and they had these two options and they're thinking, what should I buy, the Sony or the Fuji? What would they pick? If I was in that position right now, the short answer is I would pick the Sony A6700. However, if you want to hear the long answer why I said so or why I would pick the Sony over the Fujifilm X-M5, because it's not just an emotional decision, right? It would be a decision based on facts. So the first reason why I would pick the Sony A6700 over the Fujifilm X-M5, I'm not going to call the model names anymore. I'm just going to say Sony and Fuji, right? So the reason I'll pick the Sony over the Fuji, first thing is the lenses. With the Sony E-mounts, there are so many options. All the manufacturers, or not all, but most of the manufacturers make lenses for the E-mount. And I'm not saying the selection of lenses for Fujifilm is not wide. It's a wide range of selection as well. However, most Fujifilm users don't buy these cameras to resell them quickly. You know, there are so much more Sony users on the market, so it's easier for you to find used lenses. And I'm a big advocate for buying used camera gear, used electronics in general, because you save a lot more money when you buy used compared to buying new. And most of these used products are still in great condition. But anyways, what I'm saying is with the lenses, it's a lot easier for me to find loads of used Sony lenses for E-mounts from across all focal length and ranges compared to the Fuji. Another reason why I would pick the Sony over the Fuji is the Sony's size is bigger than the Fujifilm's size. The Fujifilm X-M5 is a really small camera. Looking at both of them, you can tell it's a significant difference. And with that small size comes its pros and cons. The reason why the small size doesn't bother me is I can take it everywhere, absolutely everywhere I go. I take my X-M5 with me. I can't really say the same for the A6700. I mean, it's a crop sensor camera still. It's not as big as the full frame counterparts like the A7 IVs and the rest of them, but it's still bigger than the X-M5. And with such a small body like the X-M5 comes poor stability. You see, the X-M5 doesn't have in-body image stabilization, which once again does not bother me at all, because most of the videos that I'm making like this, I'm just putting it on a tripod. If I'm taking pictures, I've got steady hands. I will set my shutter speed and whatever. IBIS is not a problem of mine because I feel like the X-M5 is so capable. It's almost cinema camera territory when it comes to the quality of the videos and the photos that you can get from it. So, but with the small size, you won't get that much stable footage. With a camera that is heavy, if you're hand holding video, the weight of the camera reduces the jittering and the shakes of your camera body. But with the light camera, all the movements are accounted for. Every single jitter and shake is just, you know, it comes into your video. So with stability, the size affects it. And also the heat, the body heat that the X-M5 generates. If you're making videos outside the sun for longer hours, the X-M5 will overheat before the Fuji, before the Sony, right? Because the Sony has a slightly bigger body, and yes, both of them will need fans if you're making videos for long hours in hot environments. But the Sony, being a little larger, has better heat dissipation. So that's a reason as well. And also with the battery, you see, a smaller body needs a smaller battery. You can't compare that with the A6700 with the big Sony battery in that. So it's kind of like double the power that you get from it compared to the X-M5. So yeah, the battery would make me want to pick the Sony If I'm going out on a whole day and I got 2 Sony batteries, I'm good. Can't say the same for the Fuji. And as we all know, the biggest problem with the Fuji system right now is autofocus. Sony's autofocus is too good. It's way more capable than I can explain to you. If I take a picture or a video on the Sony camera and my Sony A6700 and I realize the shot was out of focus, it's absolutely my fault. It's a skill issue. It's my problem. I'm the reason why the shot is out of focus. It's not the camera. It's probably because I didn't touch the focus. I didn't tap the focus. Maybe I picked the wrong focus type, or the zone was just shifted around, and it has to be my fault, okay? But with the Fujifilm X-M5, even when you're so meticulous about nailing your focus, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. If you're shooting larger subjects, your focus will be good. You won't have problems. But if you're shooting, smaller subjects, the focus kind of gets confused. This photo that I took at Liverpool Central is a good example, with a subject just standing here, not moving about. And this was taken at f5.6. That way you can tell the focal plane was not too thin to have confused the camera or anything like that. I put the focus box right on the subject's face, but somehow the camera decided that it was best to focus on what was behind the subject, which was the Liverpool Central signage. You see, in a case like this, the Sony camera would have detected that this is a human being in front of this subject. Whatever the case might be, it would prioritize the human first before looking for something behind. I had a couple of shots like this that were missed, and I think I'm focusing on someone. However, the box just comes in and the camera picks whatever is behind the main subject and just does what it feels like. So it's a hit or miss with the Fujifilm X-M5 as compared to the Sony A6700. Even if I'm back focused and I just press the AF on button, it's going to be in focus the whole time. And that goes for everything: humans, cars, whatever subject it is. So yeah, with that being said, I understand fully if Fujifilm were to put like in-body image stabilization into the X-M5, we would not achieve these size. We wouldn't get a camera as small and portable as this. But me, I'm not going to be the person to prioritize portability over function, say form over function. No, I would rather take a big chunky camera like the A6700, which is not even chunky if you look at it in the grand scheme of things. I'd rather take a bigger camera and go to family events with it, shoot casual shots with it, knowing that I can still take it to a professional shoot. Now, don't get me wrong, the X-M5 can do absolutely almost everything the A6700 can do, except for the autofocus. Like I said, it's a very, very extremely capable camera, but I'd rather take, like I said, the big cam to the small events than take a small portable camera to a professional shoot where I know I can come home and everything I did was just not good enough in terms of AF and stability. I know we can throw a camera on a gimbal to get the absolute best stabilization possible, like with the DJI RS4 Mini that I have up here. However, it's not all of the shots that you want to put on a gimbal. Sometimes the handheld look is what you're looking for. So it has to be handheld with the shakiness, but not too shaky to a point where it just doesn't look pleasing. And overall, after all being said, the Sony camera is just a little more professional than the X-M5. I would pick this and I would be very confident that I can do absolutely anything that needs to be done with a camera. I can do it with the Sony as compared to the Fujifilm. Fujifilm X-M5 is more of a casual camera. If I were to get something that's closer to the A6700, it probably would have been the XS20 or the XH2S. Even at that, even if I had an XH2S or an XS20, I'll still pick the 6700 because yes, you would get better stabilization. Yes, you would get better grip and everything like that with the size. Autofocus will still be the same. So that would be a reason to not pick the Fujifilm XS20 over the A6700, especially considering that I'm a video first person. I take pictures, I enjoy taking photos, but I bought cameras for videos in the first place, and just photos are secondary to me. So yeah, that's all for now. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you were a photo first shooter, what would you pick? Would you pick the Fujifilm X-M5 or the Sony A6700? Do you enjoy editing RAWs, or you would find a way to get nice looking JPEGs and just run with that? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, please leave a like, and if you subscribe, it'll be so much appreciated, and I'll see you again in another video.